All right, Shalom. Before I start, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakudash, to honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all Gwek Akim, Wa Akwath, learning and teaching truth and sincerity. Another video through the Spirit. This right here is going to be a real quick lesson dealing with, Gad and Reuben, the so-called northern, the so-called Native American Indians and the Latinos. They are, in fact, as well as the Negroes, the biblical Israelites. Those three groups of people today. All right. Once again, as we're called today, Negroes, aka, blacks, African Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians, niggas from the islands, along with the Latinos of their different denominations, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, El Salvadorian, Guatemala, Honduras, Uruguay, and the various, American so-called Indian tribes, Chickasaw, Cherokee, Choctaw, Blackfoot, Apache, Comanche, Seminole, so many more. We make up the Israelites. And now Northern Kingdom in particular, which is the Latinos and Native Americans, they came over to the Americas several thousand years ago. And although they look a little bit different phenotypically, meaning their outside physical features, nose, hair, skin color, they are still our people. All right. They are under the curses as we are, and they share in many of the same physical attributes that we do. So I'm gonna let this clip play just to show you, Esau, he tried to brainwash us, telling us that, they're Asians that walked across the Bering Strait, which is a mythological, imaginary pseudoscience statement and idea. That's not the case. Okay, I'm gonna let a couple clips play, then we're gonna get some scriptures. All right, if there's anyone that doesn't know or is new, once again, Native American Indians and Latinos / Hispanics are biblical Israelites. They descend in particular from the 10 tribes, one of the 10 tribes collectively known as Northern Kingdom, with the leader or leading tribe being Ephraim, otherwise known as Joseph. First clip.
Many people incorrectly think that indigenous people from the USA are somehow different from indigenous people from Latin America, but this is such a wrong way of thinking about it. Take, for instance, the Diné, aka the Navajo people, who reside in New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah. These states, along with Texas and a couple of others, were taken by the U.S. from Mexico as part of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo and the annexation of Texas. If that ever happened, then the Diné, along with the Apache, Hopi, Tongva, and other indigenous groups of these territories, would today technically be part of Mexico. They wouldn't have federal recognition by the USA, they would be speaking Spanish instead of English, and they would be referred to as Mexicans. So again, we have to unite instead of wasting time arguing about these colonial borders.
Hey, and so right here, this guy understands that the brothers south of the border, they're just that, brothers, y'all. The only difference between so-called Latinos and Native Americans is that when one group of white people showed up, they was speaking Spanish, and when the other group of white people showed up, they was speaking English. And depending on what patch of grass they landed on was what you was gonna be when they got done conquering you. And this guy understands that, which a lot of people today don't understand. They're looked at as two different groups, when really they're the same people. Now, in today's world, in these 2000s, Latinos have adopted, more of they've adopted many things from Esau, Edom, the language of Spanish in and of itself, right? They heavily cling to that bullshit, and they like to prop that up as their culture and their heritage. And it's not, the ones of them that are actually Israelites, not rape babies or, Edomites. And then you have Gad and Reuben, who, although they were conquered and killed, they still cling to that old sense of culture. Therefore, do things a little bit differently, but they are the same people. This guy right here, y'all, if he was walking down the street and you seen him from that, if you put a hard hat on his head and put a sledgehammer in his hand, you'd assume he was a working Mexican if he hid them ponytails, I guess they're called. Next clip. Right here it says non-native people in 2022. It says native ancestors are from Mongolia. That's why your people look East Asian. Native community, no, we don't come from Mongolia. This is a Mongolian ancestor. That is, that's what appears to be a Moabite. The Northern Kingdom are not Moabites. All right, now, one of the reasonings, I'm gonna get some scriptures here, y'all, in a minute. I'm just letting these clips play. They lived close to Moab and Ammon, so at some point they would have, got to making babies with them, and those babies made, more babies. So they would have picked up some of that look that, certain Northern Kingdom have a bit of an Asian look to them, but they're not. It's just as simple as that. All right, the same way you got certain niggas that look like Hamites. Got a scrunched up, funny looking face, but they Jake. All right, we've mated with certain peoples, but we're not those peoples. She said, "This is our ancestors right here, and this is the apparel alone is proof that they're Israelites." All right, long garments, fringed out. Once again, long garments. Long garments and fringes. All right, one more clip. It says, let's show you the first people of Texas, the Tugua people, or Tigua. And that's actually where I'm from originally. Not Tigua, but from Texas. You see this person, his look. Man, look. Some of you niggas cut his hair off and put a Nike bandana on him, and that's your granddaddy, right? Once again, if you saw this dude down the street and put a hard hat on him and a sledgehammer and a high visibility vest on him, you would assume he might be Mexican or some sort of, Hispanic. They straight up, I've seen Mexicans this dark. I've been to Mexico. And they can pass for Mexican if you swap clothes, put some tortillas in their hands. All right. So right there, just letting you see some of that old school classic look. And the Heavenly Father, like I said, he likes variety. So the Heavenly Father, if he wanted all of us to look pitch black, nappy-headed afros, he could have had it like that. But he has us looking variegated, all right, for a reason. Jeremiah, let me get that real quick. And then we'll go to the Esdras. Jeremiah 12:9, it says, "Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour." All right, and we know that word there is variegated. All right, different looks, different color, different appearances. All right, so you have Israelites that look different from one another. Nevertheless, we are the true people. And all these thousands of years later, we still do certain things that are what's the word I'm looking for? Not forerunners. not glimpse, little pieces of proof that we're the Israelites, if you will. Garments, fringes, the songs, the dance, the vocalization that they were doing. Northern Kingdom, Issachar, heavily Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, right? Tortillas, flatbread, all right, unleavened bread. The Tainos, right? The whole, the prophecy in Genesis and in Deuteronomy, them being by the waters, dealing with that island. We're clearly the people, all right? So if somebody doesn't want to accept it, that's on them. H6641, shop Y, color, variegated, speckled, all right? Let me see something. Right here, variegated, because I know what it means, but I'm getting y'all up to speed if you didn't know. It says exhibiting different colors, especially as irregular patches or streaks. Let's see. Yep. So some Israelites, y'all, we have different colors and patterns or streaks about us, our physical appearance. All right. Mine heritage, my people are unto me as a variegated bird, as a bird that has different appearances. So don't let Esau's false school system mind fuck you. All right. Oh, they're Asians that came. Well, okay. What year did they come over? Oh, well, maybe sometime after the Ice Age or before the. Oh, that's not accurate. And the Bering Strait walk never happened. That's a farce. We're going to look in the scriptures and see how the so-called Native Americans and Latinos got here. All right, which is something that we understand now all these years, which you have many people who claim to know about the Bible, they still don't know. You have to the scriptures should be able to answer everything that's going on in the world. And that's one of the big mysteries. How did those people get over here? Oh, we don't know. Well, we do over here. All right. So let's explain. 2nd Esdras 13 and 39. It says, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hoshea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So originally, the northern kingdom tribes got banished out of the land of Israel. They got taken as slaves for their sin, for their idolatry, which is something they do heavily have, a spirit of idolatry. What is that? Hosea 7 and 8. Ephraim is joined to idols, let them alone. Now, Latinos, hey, they love that bullshit ass white Jesus, that Mary, Guadalupe, what is that? Dia Muerte, Day of the Dead, all that bullshit. Gad and Reuben, they can be on that bullshit. Totem poles, turtle spirit, all that bullshit. Nevertheless, they're still our people. They were taken out of their land. And then what happened? It says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into another country where never mankind dwelt. So remember, this journey starts in the Middle East. They're over there in the Eastern world, and they said, we got to get up out of here. We're going to get away from these people, and we're going to go to a different part of the world. What part of the world did they go to? That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. All right, and the original purpose was to come over here and keep the laws, which is why certain remnants, certain remnants of our culture still shine through. Like what? The garments, the fringes, certain of the vocalizations that they make in those songs and dances. When I went to Mexico, man, I took these pictures. I'm not sure if I did the video on it or not, but there's a statue that I had of a princess, of a Mexican princess with fringes on. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up real quick. Real quick. Okay, right here. This is a statue of a Mexican princess. I forget her name, but clearly she has fringes on at the bottom, and she's in a garment. What people customarily wore this type of clothing? The Hebrews. Okay, plain and fucking simple. Fringes, literally, y'all. This is a statue in Mexico. When I was down there in Mexico, Princess de Palenque. All right. This is Hebrew customs and apparel. Why was this not explained to us in school? Why do people pretend like this history doesn't exist nor ever happened? So they came over here to keep the laws, which they did for a while, and over time of not having, you know, the Levitical priesthood over here or anybody keeping them in check, they begin to do their own damn thing. All right, and so start doing your own thing for a couple thousand years, and you will lose certain things that your forefathers used to do, which is why, you know, they made it to where they was today. They went from, you know, Yahweh to Yehovah, you know, all that stuff. Verse 43, it says, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they passed over. So this lets you know that they sailed out of the Middle East into the Euphrates, which can take you down around Africa, all right, the Cape of Africa, the Horn of Africa, and sail upwards, getting around to south of North America. All right, and presumably, you know, they landed in South America and worked their way up over the centuries and whatnot. And the Heavenly Father put the Spirit on the water, you know, for it not to consume them. So the Heavenly Father had them successfully make this journey, no matter how crazy it seems, no matter how ill-equipped the boats could have been. God made sure this journey occurred. All right. It says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. Then they dwelt there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. So right here, we know that it took them a year and a half to reach it. All right, so that was a hell of a trip. And it tells you that they would be there to the latter time. So if you're dealing with a person who, you know, claims to know the Bible, why don't they, this lets you know they would be there in the latter time. Where are these people at? Over here in the Americas. Okay? You have to be able to explain all things biblically. And we're able to do that through the Spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. They're not Asians. They're not Mongolians. They're not, you know, they didn't walk no goddamn barren straight. They didn't evolve up out the dirt. They hopped in some boats for some time and sailed their asses to America, which they called Arsareth, which is a Hebrew word meaning another land. So that's about it, y'all. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakorash, the honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all elect Akim, Wa Akwath, learning, teaching, and truth and sincerity. Shalom.